Scientific understanding often stumbles upon mysteries in the natural world. One such mystery was the extraordinary association between a wild leopard and a cow, observed in Anoli village of Gujarat's Vadodara district. The narrative unfolds during one summer shortly after the author began their job at the Vadodara Wildlife Circle in June 2002. Regular news of leopard sightings was reported from Anoli village, roughly 20 kilometers from the Jambagoda sanctuary and about 40 kilometers from Vadodara city. In Anoli, a leopardess chose to rest in sugarcane fields, feeding on pigs, rodents, Indian hares, household pets, birds, large frogs, and occasionally goat calves. The well-watered farmlands, predominantly tall crops, provided substantial concealment and accessibility to nearby ravines, catering to large predators. As woodlands are heavily used by livestock, leopards often retreat deep into sugarcane thickets to guard their young. In reality, sugarcane fields play a significant role in leopard breeding. Occasionally, the leopard is strayed far from woodland edges to select clearings in villages for nourishment. By September 2002, grievances began to multiply, prompting forest authorities to alleviate the villagers' concerns. Anoli residents frequently noted a leopard and her cub in the late afternoons and at nightfall. Such complaints were not unusual in the region, where human-animal conflicts were common due to the growing leopard population and a shortage of prey in their habitats. In fragmented environments or areas experiencing food scarcity, leopards temporarily migrate from their home territory to find sustenance. In these cases, the department refrained from trapping benign creatures. When the grievances reached the Minister of Forests in Gandhinagar, Minister Daulat Singh Desai tasked the author with investigating further. After discussions with the principal wildlife warden, it was decided to trap the animal in the area. Workers set a live bait trap in a convenient location. The first photo and video documentation was captured by Manaja Takar, a naturalist from Vadodara. Rohit Vyas, the head of the Forest Department, celebrated wildlife protector Manaja Takar, nature enthusiasts from Vadodara, and their friends who spent many evenings in the village, successfully trapping a female leopard around 2 a.m. on September 20, 2002. They released her early the next day. Though the villagers felt comforted by the leopard's capture, they also experienced a sense of loss, as they shared a unique connection with the creature. The leopard's presence helped protect their crops from nocturnal attacks by jackals and wild boars, leading to bumper yields. However, a month after this incident, grievances began to resurface. Villagers believed the trapped female leopard was the mother of a juvenile seen lurking nearby. During a visit to the village by forest officials and wildlife specialists, they were told of a strange incident that was initially met with disbelief. Within the community, the Patel households enjoyed a higher social standing, while lower caste families lived on the outskirts, as is common in Indian villages. On the periphery of the village dwelt a lower caste family, owners of a cow, a buffalo calf, and 2 calves. The livestock grazed on open pasture adjacent to the house. A senior family member, close to 60, observed each evening as the leopard approached the cow, and their interaction was fearlessly reciprocal. Initially, he questioned what he saw, but the following day, their behavior astonished him. His narrative was met with skepticism until others began to witness the same every day. The author accepted this account from forest official Enrojit Vyas when he observed the interaction on October 17th. The elderly man had further noticed that only a specific cow, whose colors matched those of the leopard, was approached by the feline in the open pasture in front of his house. Their interaction seemed more friendly than predatory, as noted by the villagers. Ignoring the 2 bulls and the calf grazing in the same field, the leopard chose to befriend the cow, which felt familiar to it. The story of this unlikely friendship swept across the landscape, catching the attention of people in neighboring towns eager to witness it. The best spot to view the 2 unique companions was atop the roof of a neighboring house. Observers could edge closer until they were only 10 meters away if it weren't for the flashes of cameras. Nature lovers and photography enthusiasts began flocking to the village. Images were taken, and forest officials were alerted to the occurrence. A top English daily ran the story on its first page, drawing from a popular Hindi film for its headline, Ek Choti Si Love Story, translated a small love story. However, this situation didn't appease everyone. Elderly residents were uneasy, not out of fear for the leopard, but out of concern it could potentially harm a child. They had no desire for the leopard to be hurt, but preferred it to be removed. People in Delhi began querying their news correspondents regarding the matter, but only a fraction of the story was revealed, aside from an article penned for Sanctuary Asia magazine by a Mumbai author. A TV news team filmed all night documenting the strange relations, but no significant moments unraveled. The town gained notoriety. Locals were unafraid of the leopard. Various people, including Chief Wildlife Warden Pradeep Hanna, traveled to the town to observe firsthand the leopard's peculiar behavior. The forest department decided to trap the leopard, installing cages around the village. Just as the tale sparked interest, the leopard vanished for nearly a week. However, upon its return, nature enthusiasts were ready with their cameras. Every evening, typically between 9:30 and 11 p.m., the leopard ventured towards the cow from the adjacent fields. The cow was usually attentive, angling its ears up before the leopard's arrival, sensing it from afar. The village dogs barked a warning, heralding the leopard's approach. The leopard would initially survey the area from a distance, then proceed to rub against the cow, sitting tentatively next to it. Sometimes the cow responded, emitting a low, unintelligible sound, indicating a docile demeanor. These two beings often engaged in friendly nudges of their heads. In a surprising twist, one day the cow became riled and forcefully bumped the leopard with its horns. The leopard simply repositioned itself closer and resumed its low hiss. Occasionally, the cow would attend to the feline's head and neck with its tongue, displaying behavior similar to how it would treat its own young. There were times when the leopard, still unsure of its surroundings, felt uncomfortable with the presence of humans, including photographers, and chose to retreat to the field's safety. Keeping vigil throughout the night, it was noted that the leopard made between 5 to 6 nightly excursions, with one night recorded where it returned at least a dozen times. The author spent several nights intrigued by the unusual happenings. One night, he arrived in Anoli at 9 o'clock with Rohit Vyas, Manoj Thakkar, and others. He set up his camera in the hut where the elderly man resided. His chair was a good 10 meters from where the cow was stationed. The cow, young and tall, of a reddish-brown color with a white belly, was a sight to behold. Apart from the leopard's black spots, the texture of the cow's coat resembled that of the large feline. The author waited in the cabin for over an hour until the old man began to snore deeply. The man, having observed the leopard's behavior for 2 months, was well versed in its habits. Before nodding off, he mentioned the leopard typically shows up around 10 o'clock, but sometimes earlier. They took their positions as the electricity flickered off. After some time, there was a rustling, and the leopard was spotted sitting next to the cow when the flashlight illuminated them. The leopard then escaped into the dark. The flashlight pointed in the direction the leopard usually approached from. The author spotted a large feline settled down on a heap of paddy straw. One of the bulls was tethered between the cow and the pile of straw, where the leopard had made itself comfortable. The bull's demeanor was noticeably different. He remained standing, breathing heavily and alert, continually monitoring the leopard's every move. The large feline seemed unwelcome and considered a threat by the bull, although it did not elicit the bull's usual aggressive response. It is speculated that after observing the interactions of its 2 bovine acquaintances, the leopard became less fearful. The cow remained courageous as the leopard approached her again, brushing against her and positioning itself beside her, much like a calf would with its mother. The author, peering from his hut's roof, observed this fascinating spectacle unfold around 2 a.m. With the leopard receding into the shadows, it was agreed to head back to Vadodara, capturing these incredible events on camera during the subsequent visit from the Chief Inspector of Wildlife Protection. Just a few days later, 2 photographers aimed to understand this baffling manifestation. Sensing a large group of people, the leopard nonchalantly approached the cow, their heads touching before they both settled comfortably beside one another. Their unique interactive language was indeed challenging to comprehend. The cow seemed to welcome the large feline, much like a mother embraces her calf seeking affection. The leopard often nestled against the cow's face and neck, a sight reminiscent of a matured cat with its mother. Sometimes the leopard would utilize its paw to gently prod the cow to stand. After a brief period, the creature slipped away into the fields under the cover of darkness, likely due to the disruption caused by the photographers, only to return later. The bond between the leopard and the cow continued to thrive, an occurrence unheard of before, and one that no official records could vouch for. They were often seen touching their foreheads together. The cow frequently licked the leopard, sometimes energetically, bathing its head and neck with her tongue. During the observation period from November through January, 2 baited traps were strategically positioned at the location. In response to the leopard's peculiar affections, a variety of lures such as goats, dogs, puppies, chickens, and even chunks of red meat were offered. However, the leopard refrained from killing the cage animals, choosing instead to inspect them. The attempts to trap the leopard proved unsuccessful in the end. Given the situation, the decision was made to use a tranquilizer gun to capture the animal. However, before this could be carried out, the leopard disappeared from the site. On December 20th, the leopard was seen injuring a goat outside the cage. Reports flooded in during December and January about several missing puppies. The winter season saw an increase in newborn puppies among the dogs in the village, possibly providing a rich bounty for the leopard. Those monitoring the area noted that the leopard routinely visited the cow from October 8th to 22nd, and again from November 4th to 29th. Oddly enough, from late November to late December, the leopard maintained some distance but was sighted nearby. In the 3rd week of January, the leopard vanished, only to reappear during the last week of February, keeping company with the cow until the early hours. Trapping attempts in November and December did not work, as the wary creature adamantly avoided any cage traps, although it once made a futile attempt to prey on a goat outside the trap. After a series of regular visits for more than a week, the feline vanished again in February, but returned for a day or two in early March. Local accounts claim that the animal also scavenged for food in nearby villages, primarily targeting dogs. Wildlife lovers contacted villagers for new information, yet for inexplicable reasons, the leopard did not return to the cow. Several months passed without news except for some indirect evidence that the leopard visited the village occasionally. There's a belief that 2 leopards intermittently visited the village in 2004, but it was challenging to ascertain if one was the same leopard. There was an incident when a leopard hunted and partially devoured a cow in the village. It's possible it matured into a full-grown big cat and found a mate somewhere, but this remains unverified. So what's the real story? How did the predator and its traditional prey exhibit such astonishing behavior? There are numerous explanations for this peculiar conduct. Some theorize that the female leopard captured in August was the mother of the one observed, despite her mature appearance in the images. We remain largely uninformed about the patterns and behaviors of these creatures. We also lack full comprehension of some enigmatic human behavioral traits. It remains inexplicable why the leopard regularly spent time with the cow and behaved in ways people found hard to believe. It is even more astounding why the cow accepted its nemesis and showed it the same affection it had for her calf. The author believes that the absence of its own species may have influenced the young leopard, finding maternal qualities in the cow that provided comfort and helped it cope without its mother. P.M. Led, the former top wildlife guardian of New York's Madhya Pradesh state, who spent his life among tigers and leopards, was taken aback by this revelation. His wife kept a tiger cub in their home, where it grew. Led reiterated his wife's theory that the cow likely left an imprint on the young leopard at an extremely early age, before its hunting instincts had fully developed. This could have contributed to the unconventional bond since the cow did not perceive any danger. It's highly likely that the cow had never encountered a leopard before and thus did not realize these 2 species were traditional adversaries. Perhaps the accurate details of what transpired will remain a mystery, but it's apparent that the cow's and the leopard's actions were both peculiar and highly unlikely. Nature never ceases to amaze, and there may be some undiscovered connection here of which we have minimal knowledge.